Hello and welcome. Today we've got Nick Alvear, and today we are going to be discussing celebrity cloning and reptilian Hollywood. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview. Unless, of course, myself and Nick can choose our words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. Nick, thank you for joining me, sir. How are you and what have you been up to?
Hey. I've been good. How are you, man? Can you hear me properly?
I can hear you properly. I can hear you very good. I've been very well. I've been focusing on these interviews and trying to get the truth out there. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm just working, man. I'm working and creating a lot. Good Line is growing a lot. We just started Good Line Records with Scotty the Kid as one of the main musicians. So if you guys have not heard Scotty the Kid, go check out goodline.tv. There's a records section up at the top, and you can hear all the music I've made over the last 10 years. And then you can hear all the music Scotty the Kid's made over the last 10 years. And you can watch his music videos there too, all for free. And yeah.
Amazing. Well, I'll definitely leave the links below so that people can have a look. Thank you, Nick, for that. And also, I want to say a big congratulations to you. I mean, I'm going to let you say it first, but congratulations. And why don't you tell us what's happening?
Thank you. I'm engaged to Alpa Sony, and we let it out of the bag. We let the cat out of the bag recently. So I just wanted to let everyone know here that, yeah, I'll be in the UK a lot. That's going to be awesome. And yeah, I'm engaged to one of the most beautiful women on earth, her mom being the most. Boom.
Amazing. Well, congratulations. I wish you both the very best for the future. So how did you let the cat out of the bag?
Well, actually, I would say it was Alpa at the at Charlie Ward's Awakening tour, I believe. Yeah, she announced it there. There's a cool video on my Instagram, her at the podium. She's like 5'2", so the podium is like competing with her. And it's just the most adorable clip. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to everything we're going to build together. There's a lot of things that Alpa and I have already created and want to create and will. It's a very exciting world, despite how dark it can be.
Absolutely. Very much so. Now, let's go into the celebrity cloning, because some people say, it's a conspiracy and I don't believe it. But then when we tell them about Dolly the sheep being cloned, it's very, very easy to believe that. But when it comes to humans, it's like, no, it's a conspiracy theory. So what do you make out of it? And what do you have to tell us about celebrity cloning? Is it real?
That's a great start. The movie I'm working on right now is Celebrity Cloning. And is it real? Now I'm saying yes. And I was just not long ago the person who would say the biggest conspiracy theory would be cloning for me, because I really didn't believe it. I just didn't understand how you can transfer consciousness or even copy it. But as I've done more research, I'm starting to learn there's different types of clones. And there are clones that are soulless. And you can actually, once you start studying who may have been cloned and you start to recognize what their eyes feel like, you start to understand what a soulless person feels like. I saw a picture recently of Mark Zuckerberg with, I don't know, his posse, just a bunch of people in his posse, and their eyeballs look abnormally large. There's something very creepily strange about their glare. I think it's a soulless glare, and I'll explore it more in the movie. But what made me realize that cloning could have been around for way longer than we've known is just once I started researching heavily, I realized that even in old scriptures, 5,000 to 8,000 years old, in the Mahabharata, that's from the Indian scriptures, holy scriptures, cloning was happening there. In test tubes, specifically in the text, it's describing test tubes. What does it say? It's Queen Gandhari. Her fetus was broken up into 101 pieces and put into mud pots by Maharishi Vyasa, who actually wrote the Mahabharata. These test pots were carefully attended to by trained morphic field resonators for incubating these test tubes. That's what's in the actual scripture. So that got me thinking. After seeing We Are None, which is on Good Line TV and the history of Flat Earth, a lot of the technologies we're wowed by today,
Mm.
many were wowed by yesterday, long ago. So if we're just starting to explore cloning, no doubt it must have been around long ago. And so I'm discovering those clues. And a lot of people may wonder, why would we clone? Why would we even clone somebody? Think about it. There's plenty of reasons. Power, control, and keeping stability in society. For example, you got a president, most presidents have been cloned. You'd think, no way. George Bush. Look at George Bush in the beginning of his presidency and at the end, and do the same with Biden. That's one big one.
Definitely. We can tell with Biden's ears that it's not the same Biden. I mean, the old Biden, his earlobes would stick right out, completely disconnected from his, from his face when you look at him face on. But when you look at the Biden today face on, his ears, the earlobes they're just so much more into the face.
Yeah.
It's a completely different person. Behavior, even the eyes, they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. You look into the eyes and it's a completely different person. Now, either it's, a deep state puppet clone, or it's, they're a white hat puppet right now, clone, a clone. So what do you think?
Damn, that's a hard one. Is it a white hat puppet or a black hat? Right now, I can't really say I know for sure. I can wish that it is a white hat, but some decisions and policies that are happening, why would white hats continue on with this? Like, what other work is there to be done that requires a facade presidency still? Do we have to wait till 2024? I mean, right now, at this point, after 2024, that's when I think we'll have a lot more certainty in the direction of where we're headed. Because if Trump does come back in and we see some things go down properly, like we would imagine, then we're on the right path. But if Trump comes in and we start seeing, J&J get pushed around, like at his last rally, Trump comes out and he what's the word? Endorses Dr. Oz. And a lot of people are shocked that he did that. And I was on an 8-hour podcast with Jason Q and Alpa when that happened. And Jason was monitoring or commenting on whatever Trump was saying. Jason and I have a different idea on who Trump is right now. I have an open mind on who Trump might be and who might not be. So some people might think, what the hell is he talking about? Clones. We'll go back into clones. Trump may have been cloned. Jason doesn't believe it, but I've had a few people who are remote viewers, and I know that's not really good for anchoring any source of validity, but it is something, who have seen multiple Trumps. And if we know that there's a lot of speculation around previous presidents being cloned, why wouldn't Trump? When you're that rich and you're worried if you might need an organ transfer, you would clone yourself in order to have a backup of all of your organs. And if you were so influential that you brought in a lot of money, you would be cloned to continue to bring in a lot of money. Some people say Michael Jackson kept changing his look so that his clone couldn't take over, and then they kill him. So in the movie I'm making now, the big topic that we're going to focus around is Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle has been theorized to have been killed and cloned, and it gets heavier when his first cousin, comes out and talks about it on record. You hear her talk about what happened in detail, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today. The brief story of how Dave Chappelle may have been killed and cloned, which is crazy. I know that sounds so far out that we could even have a conversation like that, but here it is. As you know, quite recently, Dave Chappelle was here in LA at the Hollywood Bowl, and Joe Rogan was supposed to be there. He wasn't there. Jon Stewart came out, and Chris Rock. And it felt very liberal. Of course, it's LA. And there was a very dark vibe. I was sitting in the garden area in the front. Marlon Wayans, the actor, was to my left, and in front of me was Pauly Shore, and next to him looked like Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole. It was weird. Jon Stewart came out and commented about his face. He said, "I look old as hell." And I said out loud, "It's because you ran out of adrenochrome." And Marlon Wayans' lady to my left, she said, "I heard that, adrenochrome. You watch out now." I thought, whoosh, what? Anyway, let's just move on from that. I just wanted to share how weird that was.
Mhm.
We left the show early because it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. And when we left, someone tackled Dave Chappelle on stage. He had a pistol. It was a fake gun with a knife in it. So he could have attacked Dave as well with it, but he didn't. Very strange night. It was a very strange night. And anyway, I come home and I'm starting to research and I dive into the Dave Chappelle theory. Dave Chappelle, everyone knows, in 2003 to 2005, created the Chappelle Show, and it blew up. Many people didn't expect it to. It made fun of Black culture because he's Black and he can do that. But there are a group of people who call themselves the Dark Crusaders that consist of Louis Farrakhan, Oprah Winfrey, and Bill Cosby. Back then, they weren't teaming up together at the start, but they all reached out to Dave Chappelle and said, "What you're doing is damaging the Black community. We're asking you to stop." And he refused these requests, all of them. Kept going, season 1, season 2, season 3. The threats to get him to stop kept building up to points where he'd get out of his shower and there would be people there standing there. Have we heard Dave talk about all this? No. So we have to kind of take this with a little fantasy, but if it's true, in the end, we can connect dots. So Oprah gives him a lot of heat and says, "Stop, or we'll end you." These are the words his cousins is using. And Dave releases an episode in season 3 where he has a baby with Oprah. It's almost like it's like a tug of war. They're asking him to stop and he's being worse. And finally, the threats got to a point that he just gave up on season 3 and moved to South Africa. Just like that. Just like that. Now, who knows what the severity of the threats were, but after a little while, he comes back to America. And whose show does he go on to explain what happened? It goes on Oprah's. And Oprah makes it very obvious that she has an agenda on how she wants him to answer questions simply by asking him questions that prepare a specific answer. But Dave is really smart and handles it very well. And you can see the tension that is between the two. It's very, very real. Dave's first cousin says that after this interview is when he was killed and cloned because he stayed out of the light for many years after that. And when he came back, his voice was different. His body was different. His jokes were different. And his cousin was just very focused on how his personality wasn't different. He wasn't calling his mom. He wasn't calling his family. He wasn't calling his favorite cousin, her. So it is a far out story to understand why would they even clone him? Well, he had that much influence in society. If he dipped out for a little while, why not just let him dip out? Well, maybe he'll come back. Maybe we can clone him and use him later. And now he's working on Netflix as a joke, going around the whole United States, kind of being a mockingbird liberal puppet right now. It wasn't funny. I was there and I really didn't enjoy it. But if cloning is real, then we're living in some of the craziest times of our lives. And we're just ants in a lab where we don't get to see the real toys. And what's fun about this life right now is we get to explore and theorize and possibly discover these technologies and hopefully use them. Hopefully white hats get to blossom with all of this and we get to prosper into a world with it all. So to kind of end on that, I want to give this channel a gift, and that's it's called The Last President. It's a movie, a short film on technologies of our past that may describe our future in a way. So it's the Trump, Tartaria, Nikola Tesla and time travel movie. It's basically how Trump may very well be a time traveler. He may not actually be cloned. There may be multiple dimensional Trumps that are interacting in ours. Who knows? But the best part is we get to theorize it and have fun with all these things.
Well, I'll leave the links below for that too. Thank you so much, Nick. So going back to celebrity cloning, do you believe that in Dave Chappelle's situation, if he is a clone, what's happened to his consciousness?
What? Let's see here. His consciousness was actually one of the things they worried about. When you make a clone of somebody, they're not going to be the same 100% to those who are really close to them. They'll be able to find out. If you're famous and you're going out and you have scripts often, you're not going to appear that different. But for your lovers and your family, you will. Dave lived on a farm in Ohio. He just didn't want to fuck with the world at all. And they say his whole family was killed and cloned as well. So if that's the case, it's so that they wouldn't be able to tell. I think your consciousness can't be cloned. I think that's the God particle. That's the God particle. I don't think you can really clone that. I think you can make a timestamp and then create some kind of AI that would say what it thinks you would say. But there are certain clones that, are connected to consciousness.
But can't they transfer your consciousness into the clone?
Yeah, okay, that's another type. Yeah, so that you could dip out of your body and go into another body that was made for you. So you can have immortal life, which could very well be happening. We're living in a world that is absolutely never transparent. We have to go find all the truths out there. Like quite recently, I had a friend come over and he's telling me, for some reason, we got on the topic of the underground network, the underground city of LA. And he goes, yeah, man, check this out. And he shows me some articles from the 30s that are talking about discovery. I think it was a few engineers discovered that there was a network of tunnels in the 30s underground in LA that exposed pockets of catacombs that were filled with gold. It's in the paper. And back then, I think the paper was a little more innocent. I don't think they had much agenda. They're like, oh shit, we just discovered this. Throw it in there. Mm-hmm. And in these articles here, let me show you this real quick. I'll just show on the screen and then I'm going to post this on my Instagram, Good Lion TV, if you guys want to see more of it. But all right, here's one photo. This is the underground network that they discovered in 1933, a map of the underground world in LA. There's an underground world. This is pretty much what they're saying. And there was what the whole hoopla was. They found there were huge catacombs of gold. So everyone thought, let's go get it. Let's do it. Let's go find it. And that's why we have such a interesting, elaborate. Let's see. No, that one won't do. But here's what I find interesting. This is 1933. The title here is Lizard People's Catacomb City Hunted.
Okay. So what does this mean?
Engineer sinks shaft under the molehill to find maze of tunnels and priceless treasures of legendary inhabitants. They're calling the legendary inhabitants underneath LA lizard people. Isn't that something? Lizard people. I mean, because when you connect lizard people to everything, look at the Abyss family. That's Fauci's family, original family. The family crest goes back to the 16th century, and it's the Abyss family, and their icon it's a snake eating a baby. And all that we know so far after watching all the Pervy Woods and everything, that we know there's a cabal, elite group of cabal worshipers who are doing all that kind of stuff. Now we're starting to realize that they may have been living underground in LA this whole time. Now, do they look like humans? Shapeshifters, absolutely. How many people do we interact with daily that are one of these types of people, reptilian or clone. Once you realize that, the world gets weird. So, yeah, you just got to keep your mind open to all these possibilities. A lot of the times we have problems of our own, but man, there are some beautiful things to look at out there.
But are they really, reptilian shapeshifters, or do you think that there are just reptilian mammals and there are also, maybe humans with the reptilian consciousness only without the shape shifting? What do you think about that?
Reptilians with human consciousness. I feel like
with the real society.
Oh, like can you make a regular human a reptilian?
Or when a reptilian can body snatch a human and they can move their consciousness into the human body and they can get the human body's consciousness to leave the body. So it's a human body with a reptilian consciousness.
Right. Which could actually be, happening. I don't know. I know that there's a lot of speculation around the vril and the eye and the bruising and people changing afterward and the black goo. It's fascinating. It is fascinating. But, anything's possible in this world. It's just, you got to question everything, Like, check this out. This is probably going to piss people off. Question Lucifer. Do that. Oh, people will be like, oh my God, what? If you go Google, what does Lucifer mean? It means the rising star of Venus. And then if you think about like how the cabal has made us hate people like really, really badly, and then we eventually find out, wait, they were good. Let's find out the dude we hate the most. Let's go explore him a little bit. I started reading into it, and there's in the Bible, maybe not even one where they tell you that Lucifer is evil. There's no part in the Old Testament that's saying Lucifer is evil. It's basically he is a council member of God. He is the fallen angel. He's not a human. He wasn't a man. And so in the New Testament, that's when they started to slowly bring out he's a bad guy. But we all know what the New Testament was. That's them making a new Bible in 1600s. They're the mainstream media back then. They are basically, you control the world back then through the church. Today, you control it through the government. And the government controls the people through the news. Back then, the church controlled the people through the Bible. So when they created the new addition to it, they took out a lot of books. And why are they creating this bad guy? I think it's because evil is only created in the mind. And the world feeds off of, the cabal feeds off of it. And that's why we see every day on the news something for us to really get our teeth sunken into. Mm-hmm. But what if that wasn't there? Would we be more peaceful? And maybe they don't want that. So they created one of the most deepest fears ever. Will I go to hell? And then you're always going to be thinking about, the devil. So question everything. And to the point to where it's scary, Mm-hmm. And there's a good article out there on a UCLA, and I know it's cabal universities, but still you got to give it a little grain. There's a gentleman who dives into it, and he's like, whoa, guys, why do we think as Lucifer is evil? Now, that doesn't mean that we're excusing the cabal. We have to find out how the cabal got so dark and why they have those dark rituals. Why are we eating babies? That's not necessary. And why are we connecting that to Lucifer, a fallen angel? Where does it really connect to? And that's kind of a side mission I'm on. And just before I forget, everyone who has expressed interest in editing and making movies, I've saved all of your emails. As you see, I've been very busy. I will prepare something very soon for all of us in the form of a free course. I'm not just going to give you guys a video. I want to give you guys more guidance. And then eventually, this is the cool thing. I'm going to record the audio for a film, and the assignment for the course will be to use my audio and make your own version of a good line film. And I'll teach you how I do it. I start with audio first. So,
okay. So going back a little bit, maybe about the Bible and Lucifer, fallen angel, you're saying that there could be a surprising controlled opposition to confuse us.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because honestly, man, my grandma, she was one of the best Catholic women ever. She went to church every day to where she was famous. And then she ended up dying in mass fear. And I thought, why? If you've devoted your whole life to God this entire time and you're actually going now and you are fearful, you're so fearful. Shouldn't religion do the opposite? Shouldn't it make you at least like prepared and happy and ready to go when it's time? And yeah, no, it didn't for her. So that was the first red flag. I thought religion's not doing what I think it should do. It's like doing the opposite.
I think God is love. That's all we need to know. And good intention. That's all it is. The more in love you are, the more good intention you are, the closer you're with God. And when we're in that state, when we're not judging, we don't have, we manage our ego and we're not jealous and we elevate our frequency. When we elevate our frequency, then we have more power to manifestation, peace, and all of that. Yeah, and I think that's what brings you closer to God. It's just the way we should be. Not what we should believe, just the way we should be,
Exactly. The way we should be. Most people don't really have a way of asking themselves how they should be. They like being told, so.
Well, they're victims of the cabal, and the cabal has made us into followers and sheep. And, we should be teaching, education should be about teaching children and training them how to be leaders.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we have to do that more, especially today as we're seeing the school systems are getting so freaking weird. They're getting weird. So it's time. It's time for all of us to stand up in any way, shape, or form and to remember love is as simple as paying attention to something. Paying attention is love. You're focusing. If you want to focus on yourself, you're loving yourself. Most people say, how do I love myself? Focus on yourself. And there's a thing I discovered recently, and I want to see if this helps for anybody, and email me if it does. If you're feeling anxiety or stress, or you're so caught up in your mind that you're able to be aware that you are, and you want to stop it, write down this question or think it, and then do it. How much joy, how can I enjoy this next breath? Just that. How can I enjoy this next breath? Can I enjoy this next breath? And then you breathe in, and you see if you can enjoy it. Just simple. And you be honest. Did I enjoy it? No? Okay, maybe this next one, I'll pretend as if I'm drinking nutrients while I breathe in. Oh, it feels better. I'm enjoying it. Okay. Simple. And then you might forget what you were stressing about. You might reset and not feel anxiety anymore. Once you connect with the breathing and enjoying the breathing, things are going to shift. Because most people, magic is happening with every breath. You take a breath, there's so many miracles happening in every cell of your body that it's almost a disgrace for us to just ignore it. So once you start to remember how much of a miracle you are in your body with every breath, all the mechanisms that are going off, and you don't even have to worry about it, my gosh. Seriously, for me, once I started doing that, it changes the way I'm vibing. My frequency changes. So if that helps for anybody out there, let me know. I hope it does.
Absolutely. Well, Nick Alvear, it's been an absolute honor to have you. Thank you once again. And I will gladly leave all your links below so that people can have a look at Good Lion TV for all the Red Pill Netflix movies that you're creating, which is wonderful to have. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Hang in there. I know the world is dark. I think this is both a heaven and I don't really think hell exists. I think the cabal has made us think that there is a hell and they're making this place hell for them. But hang in there, stay positive. And much love to everyone out there. And thank you for all the support, all the donations that came in on the Gift Send Go. We're on our way. We're at 7K. So thank you, everyone. And thanks for believing in me and in this whole dream that I'm conjuring up.
Absolutely. Well, Nick Alvear will speak again very soon, and God bless you. Bye-bye.
God bless you.